space.
This Functional Family Podcast, episode 28, first and only take, action. It's on me. Oh, I'm supposed to be backing, right? We back again. What episode?
I'm gonna go through. You did that already.
I don't think I did that one.
Our cameraman is saying you did it already.
Oh, man. All right.
No, too late now. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Welcome back for another episode of this.
Think you back to sleep, girl. Hey, got back in it. So, I got one in there.
You's a fine up. What you back there?
Okay.
Should we start the episode over?
Nope. We rolling. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Sorry for that abrupt beginning. I didn't realize I was supposed to start with my back song. But we back. Episode 28. Shout out to everybody who has been following the movement, following the podcast. We appreciate you.
We do.
We really appreciate you. Please continue to like. Please continue to share, subscribe, comment, rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And tell your friends, word of mouth, man. Sometimes that's the best marketing.
Tell your friends to pull up. What Rihanna said. Tell your friends. That's what she said. Tell your friends to pull up, or tell your friends about me. Tell your friends to pull up.
Pull up. Yeah, I think it's pull up. So we appreciate y'all rocking. We are on episode 28, and
this episode is sponsored by Free the Soul's Clothing.
Gang, you know the vibes. This is a discontinued shirt, but I got the Black Educator joint on. We don't make these anymore. We ran out of these exclusive, but you know I'm still rocking. You feel me? Oh, I think I got the generational wealth vibes. You feel? Matter of fact, let me just let y'all see that. I'm gonna turn that around. Generational wealth, baby. Free the Soul's Clothing. Oh wait, what's going on here? All right,
good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Right.
I'm turning my hat around for those that are listening. I'm making sure it's fitting right. You feel me?
Yeah, it fits fine. It's just
right.
Okay. Shout out also to Writings from Michael. He hand makes the most amazing products, t-shirts, hoodies, also canvases. I know that he hand paints, black owned. So
the shirt she's wearing today says "Turn passion to profits." Turn passions to profits. So
shout outs, writings from Michael.
Yeah, y'all go support Writings from Michael. All right, so today we are scoffing about something that I won't say it's controversial, but obviously everybody has their own values about this. But we're talking about diet. We're talking about healthy decisions as a family. Now this comes as a weird topic because we definitely don't want it to come off like telling people what to do, because I don't think we have enough knowledge or insight or self-control in our own dietary habits all the time to be telling people what to do.
Right.
But I think we do want to explore some of the benefits and dangers of like perpetual unhealthy diets for the family, for your children. And we just thought it was important to talk about.
Just to bring awareness to the conversation.
Especially in the community, the Black community, brown community, people of color. I think we have like the highest rates of dying of heart disease and other chronic conditions. And I just think that diabetes is also highest in our communities. So I just thought it was important that we talk about it.
For sure.
But let's start with the anecdote. What inspired it though?
Let's do it. So the other day, the girls were watching Sister on Netflix, and I just happened to just doing.
They only
stuff.
75, but they love the classics.
They
baby.
love the classics.
They love the classics.
So around the house just doing stuff. And I hear in this particular episode. So I'm not eavesdropping, but I just hear that
your mom listening.
Yeah,
making sure what they watching is appropriate.
Right, because there's even though it's a PG show, it's still, as T and Tamara becoming teenagers, there's some
teenage topics.
Yeah, that are not age appropriate for Yanea and Zara. So anyway, in this particular episode, Ray is sick. right? So Lisa makes him some soup. So he wants to find out what's the recipe, what's in the soup. And Lisa goes, Granny took this recipe to the grave. Or did
the recipe?
Yeah, let me start over. So she said, I'm messing up the punchline. She said, Granny took this recipe to the grave. Or did the recipe take Granny to the grave?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it was funny. You hear the laughter in the episode and things like that.
Right.
But at the heart of it, it's a very serious topic. After years of poor eating habits and things like that, was it the recipe that killed Granny? Or was it just, she got older and her time was up?
Yeah. I think that it's funny because especially in our community, when we think about the history of food, especially in our country in particular, I'm not going to make this like a transnational or international conversation just because things are different in different cultures,
right.
different places where Black and brown people exist around the globe. But I know in the history of America, we know that our ancestors generally made do with what they had.
Yeah.
Right? They made do with what they had to make do of or with. Right? Which is how so many things got put into our diet, whether it's people in the South like chitterlings and the tails of an ox. And
all right, oxtails is.
I didn't say it wasn't good.
Staple.
Hey, I didn't say it wasn't good. I'm just saying how these things came about. Even like things that don't have to do with like the waste of a meat, but like even meals that aren't like terrible for you, but like like hominies and grits and porridges, like those things started to come around from like grabbing grains and oats and doing different things and experimenting with what you had. Yeah. Right. So, different ways that we eat fish and different ways that we eat our chicken or different parts of pigs that are eaten. You know what I mean? Were really parts of waste that was thrown away. Right. And we had to get creative. But the flip side to that is, unfortunately, our bodies were so commodified and used as an expense that we were constantly working.
Yeah, right.
Constantly in the sun, constantly working. So the way food burned on our ancestors was way different from...
They sweating all day, releasing those toxins.
Right. It's way different from what... And that doesn't mean that chitlins are good for you. Right. But it has a way different effect on somebody that's sitting at a desk that busts open some pig back or whatever, right? Right. So like it's not a judgment, but you got to really take into account the difference in excretion of what they had to intake. And I think the spiritual side of me thinks there was some grace there too, where like I believe spiritually things didn't always impact them as bad because of or as immediately because of the unfortunate circumstance they were in. You know what I mean? But now I think some of the poor choices we make are exactly that, choices. Right? And that's not everybody, because there's still dozens to hundreds of communities, impoverished communities, where better quality food is inaccessible. Yeah. Whether it's the lunch the kids are getting for free, or whether it's the markets that have old produce that's overpriced, or spoiling or expiring produce that's overpriced, right? So those are still factors. But for some of us, it's like our kids got on Essentials and Yeezys and Jordans and all this other stuff, but they don't have a fruit to be found in the house. You know what I mean? Have an orange soda for breakfast. Yeah, like I be seeing I work in a school and worked past tense in the school. And I'll pull up parking and I see kids come from the store, soda with a honey bun and a Pepsi for breakfast. And it's real, you know what I mean? And it's like, listen, they need something for the day, but there's no, I just think that I think some of our decisions with food is choice. I agree. You know what I mean? I agree. Yeah. And I also feel like, no one should feel guilty because, like you said, there are communities where there are food deserts where they don't have access to fresh produce. They don't have access to affordable produce. And if they do want to go and find it, it's too inconvenient to travel to. You're spending money to travel to get something fresh. So that's time and money to commute to somewhere where you can get better options. So no one should feel guilty about
not being able to afford a certain type of fresh produce or not being able to have access to it. Everyone's situation is different, but I do think, like you said, it's a choice. We have to make better decisions with what we choose, because there are apples in every grocery store. You know what I mean? There are oranges. There's fruit everywhere. Unfortunately, it may not be the best. Some of the apples may be browning, or some of the oranges may be a little softer. But if you can, find one good apple at the store, pretty much, just make the best of what is available, and don't continue to spend all of your money on things that are really going to deteriorate your body over time.
I want to interject because I think here's why we care, though. I think it's important to name like why it matters, because I think a lot of the functioning of our children, like I was going to say this for later, but I think I need to say this now, because it's not just like, oh yeah, just eat better. I think a lot of the functioning of our children is a result of what they're eating.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like there's no balance in the diet. It's like high carbs, high sugars, everything.
Because now, like you see,
you know what I mean, like brain function, ability to thrive in school, optimal brain function. I think I ain't no scientist. Listen, I'm not a scientist, but I think it's connected.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I probably could have done a better job like getting some research to support, but I think high levels of certain conditions in our community or inabilities to focus has a lot to do with like being planted in poor food deserted communities. And it has to do with like crashing in the middle of the day, not having any energy for the rest of the day to finish out the rest of your classes and stuff like that. So I just care about the way our kids are functioning in school.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Because our kids are being like diagnosed with ADHD, or you know what I mean? And they had a honey bun for breakfast. They don't have they're not feeding the body what it needs to work at its optimal level. You know what I mean? So it's like,
And I think I would say this though, because here's where I want to push our community. And something we've had to do too, right? Like we had to research what's in the neighborhood, because sometimes there's spots you just don't know about. Right. So sometimes there are farmers markets that come by 2 to 3 times a week or once a week in your neighborhood, and you can stock up there as opposed to buying the overpriced, bad quality stuff at your local market. And it doesn't mean stop eating everything that's negative. Listen, we all have some junk, you know what I mean? So it doesn't mean stop eating everything that you already eating, but it does mean think about increasing eating the better stuff.
Right.
Because more than likely, if you increase the amount of fruit or veggies you intake, your appetite doesn't have enough room for the other stuff. And you'll still want it every once in a while. But I think this is not an episode to say, hey, stop eating. You know what I mean? Because we still eat junk food too from time to time. But I think even with the junk food that we eat, we try to like get vegan options or plant-based options where it's made with certain ingredients, so that if you are eating junk, it's not like as bad or as many processed it's not as processed and doesn't have as many like not synthetic any of those artificial ingredients in it. And I mean small choices too, like choosing, like if you're making something with sugar, if you can, getting brown or cane sugar over white sugar, or using honey as opposed to white sugar, things like that, or agave, something that could add the sweetener that you're looking for, but just has other options. I was actually talking to a friend the other day, and she was telling me like, oh my gosh, I seen you post a story about this store. Shout out to Natural Blend. I love Natural Blend in Brooklyn.
Yes.
It's like, yo, I seen you post about this store. I took the kids there and I got them some smoothies, and now they love it. You know what I mean? And I was so happy to hear that, because it was like the kids love an option that's a little bit better. And she was like, it's the amount I would pay for getting them this type of junk. Like sometimes we assume it's extremely more expensive, and it's not always that much more expensive. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, like farmers markets are an important option to look into. Are there farmers markets in neighborhoods? And it also, like, I just push, I don't know, this episode feels like really like serious, but I really push like our local politicians, our local schools, our local churches and mosques, like do your job too, to like be there for the community, to like upend a lot of, because really the injustice is the inability to have access, whether that's education, whether that's food, whether that's jobs, right? It's usually access that's limiting us from thriving or becoming better. And I think in a Black community, one of the key things we don't have access to is better quality food, right? So like, entrepreneurs, rise up, do what you need to do. If you care about the food and culinary industry, making things healthier for our kids, for our families, because we're dying at a faster rate than any other people of heart disease, of diabetes, of high blood pressure. Like no demographic is dying the way Black people are dying based on the foods that are in our communities or the things that our hardworking parents, that's all they got access to because it's late. You know what I mean? So sometimes when it's late, try to avoid eating out and maybe have something already, you know what I mean, at the house. And a lot of this is easier said than done, but I think it's just something that we got to have on the back of our minds because we're dying.
Seriously. And I mean, like, I think it's more of a mental thing more than anything, because if you really truly care about like living a healthy, fruitful life, like you'll at least try. You know what I mean? So like, I know like spaghetti is a popular, quick, easy meal. You know, that's ready in 10, 15 minutes. So maybe try to get like a zucchini pasta. It takes probably the same amount of time to make, but at least you're getting the vegetables that you need, without feeling like you have to meal prep or go out of your way to do something super inconvenient that may not, fit into your work or school schedule. So if there's like an alternative, something like a zucchini pasta instead of a regular pasta, and it's going to take the same amount of time and effort, try that. Yeah.
'Cause I think when I think about it, like we're losing a lot of our family members too soon. I know we like to talk about like, oh, it's God's timing. A lot of times I don't think God be wanting people to leave. It's the choices we make. And I think a lot of people are leaving too soon because of diet. You know what I mean? And it's terrible. But even like in this age where we just got through or are getting through this 2-year pandemic, it like really broke my heart. And this is going to sound radical. I'm not going to name the condition that has plagued our world because there be certain flags coming up on the videos. But we know, C19 has, really ravaged through our communities. And it doesn't mean it's not real. It doesn't mean you can't be healthy and still get it. But the people who were dying, look at the numbers, majority of those people had already existing chronic conditions, fatty liver, fatty hearts, high blood pressure, asthma. And all these things deal with like, I feel like I'm going to like Dr. CB mode. All these things deal with like mucus buildup, right? And this is a bronchial condition. And the people that did get it but recovered fast, most of them didn't have like this pre-existing condition and had like more fruits and lively enzyme type foods that were ridding the body of mucus, which helped the recovery of the lungs and the bronchial area and the lymphatic system and all that other stuff get a little bit healthier. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I want to tap into these waters, but it did. Let's pod. Should we do it? Let's pod. It did break my heart like over the last like couple years to see only certain things pushed and promoted as the elixir or healer of this disease. Y'all know what disease I'm talking about. The one that took us over in 2020. As opposed to that and, you need to get more active to strengthen your lungs to fight this off. Also, hey, it's more commercials about, guys, increase your fruit intake, increase your, right? Like these things that will rid the body of the mucus that houses that condition.
Because there's so many reactive measures, but nothing proactive. Like, what are you going to do?
That was my thing. Exactly.
What are you going to do to try to, even if you don't have it, or even if you had it and, whatever it is, what are you doing to try to give yourself a fighting chance if not just that specific condition plagues you, but what are you doing that if anything happens to you, if you get a cold, you know what I mean? Absolutely. How does your body recover faster based on what's already inside of you? You can't be so reactive that, oh, crap, I'm definitely ill and now let me try to, and not saying that it won't happen or it won't work, but you have to give your body a chance that you will recover and recover faster.
Right. And I think that like, we like to say certain generational health issues are passed down. And it seems like it's passed down because it happens so it happens so early in life that it feels like a genetic condition. But the reality is we start our children with bad diets so early that it feels like, oh, well, they got this because it runs in the family. And it's like, well, you also started feeding them this way since they've been 2.
Yeah.
So like as they grow, it's going to look like they had it because it runs in the family. But no, what runs in the family are bad recipes.
Yeah. If all their snacks from the time that they're able to, chew and eat snacks is goldfish and Oreos and chips and all these high fructose syrup juices and stuff like that, and not giving them like applesauce or simple things. That's what their body is going to crave now, and trying to get them to eat healthier later on, that you might get some pushback for it. So it's best to introduce their taste buds to the best possible options as early as possible, so that habit is really fostered at a young age.
Yeah. And I had a coworker, she one time was trying to say like, I noticed you had stopped drinking dairy milk and eating dairy cheese, da, 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 da. And I was like, yeah, I try my best to reduce it when I can, blah, 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 right? So then she was just like, when she was engaged at the time, and she's like, when me and my fiance get married, one of the things we're wondering is, will we force our dietary habits like on our kids? And I was like, I had to think about it. I was like, yeah, I hear you. They should have a choice. And I'm like, wait, but it's your house. It's what you're making. Yeah. And unless they're allergic to something, it's not forcing. It's like, this is what you provide. Yeah. It's like, if it was Chinese food, we wouldn't say, am I forcing bad eating habits? So it's like, no, this is what you bought. So this is what they eat. If you made hamburger helper that night, you're not saying, am I forcing them to eat hamburger? It's only when it comes to healthy options that we say, should I force my kids to do this? But any other thing, it's not forceful.
Right. And literally, your kids don't know any other option until they go outside the home when they're older. Right. Because once they're like, 2 to 5 or whatever, and they're not really in school yet and being fed by any other sources, you are feeding them. Yeah. They don't know about unhealthy options, or they don't know about the other options aside from what you give them, good or bad.
And the thing is, they will get exposed.
Of course,
right? You know what I mean? Like, hey, they gotta get exposed. They gotta go to school. Kids gonna buy snacks. I think what happens is something's got to be in the body to kind of combat. With, you give them their little snack money, they gonna buy Arizona and some honey barbecue wise chips, and it's like, all right, cool. But if they had, you know what I mean, a little, fruit salad or something like that you hooked up for them. Yeah, there's something in their body that's live, that's giving it a fighting chance from all the processed food that they're getting from the cafeteria, or that they're getting from the corner store, or that they're getting from fast food restaurants. You know what I mean? Like, you have to give the body a chance to fight against the possible effects of a poor diet. Yeah. And I think we don't take the time to say, what are the small things we can replace, like the healthy habits, you know what I'm saying, that we can put in kids at an early age, I mean, literally right now, like as we're recording. Yeah, as early as possible. No, I mean, I'm about to get into something. Oh, like, go ahead. My fault. Like, literally right now, we are on like a fruit and vegetable cleanse. And when Yanea heard about it, we were going to give them more fruits and vegetables during this period that we're on our cleanse. Yeah. But when she heard about it, she was like, oh, can I do it too? And we were like, okay, let's do it. We were just doing it as adults. Right. And she got excited about it. So they see, setting an example, I think, is a really big thing. Yeah. So it's not just like, oh, well, fruits and vegetables is all we have. But if, they see mommy and daddy doing it, then they'll want to participate in that too, because they'll see the benefits of it. They'll hear us talking about how it benefits us. They'll ask questions about, oh, what are pears good for? What are cherries good for? I remember one time Zara couldn't go to sleep. Well, Zara doesn't like sleep anyway. But one time she couldn't go to sleep. Somebody get this child. And she came out into the living room and she was like, Daddy, I can't sleep. So he was like, Zara, why can't you sleep? This is a nightly routine. So he's like, Zara, why can't you sleep? Right. She goes, I didn't have my cherries before bed. So for those of you who may or may not know, cherries have serotonin in it. Melatonin, the dark cherries. Is it melatonin? I think it's serotonin. They have one of the tonins in them. One of the tonins that help you relax. It calms the body and helps you sleep better. So she, they'll pick up on those things. They'll retain that information. But setting an example, I think, is super important, and just giving them
I don't want to say mandating it to them, because we don't want to put a negative stigma on eating fruits and vegetables. Like, oh, you can't have an ice cream sandwich if you don't eat an apple. You know what I mean? You kind of just want to let them know, hey, be positive about it. Hey, y'all, did you eat any fruit today?
Yeah.
No, like, well, why haven't you eaten a banana? You know, make it a positive encounter for them, so that they'll want to, without you having to say, we don't have any cookies, go eat a banana.
Yeah.
They won't even be thinking about cookies. They're like, oh, I need a little snack. Maybe let me grab a kiwi, or maybe let me grab, some mangoes that was sliced up earlier.
Right. Or sometimes like I'll just like, oh, daddy need his water. That's what make me go for the day. You know what I mean? That's what make me feel like I can. Daddy, how'd you do so many, I don't know, push-ups or something like that? It's like, man, drinking that water, getting the energy. You know what I mean? Or daddy fruits. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you just gotta like give them some positive, the same way a teacher would about math or about science. If they're learning about something that is new to them, you kind of want to associate some positivity. Right. Some teachers, incorporate games and integrate, fun things into their lesson plans. I think you kind of have to do some of the same things where it's not tricking them, but it's associating it with something positive. Right? Like associating a fruit with something good that matters to a kid. Like, yo, when you're outside, all that energy you got to ride your bike, that's because you got that water in you. That's because you had your oranges. You know what I mean? Like associating mangoes with, good health. Right. Or, girl, your skin is glowing. You eat your mangoes today. You know what I mean? And I think when you associate positivity with certain healthier snacks, then it does something to how the kid internalizes it. And even like I'll share this story real quick as we wrap up. Like my dad didn't allow us to have soda until I'm one of 6 kids, but me and my older sister, she's a year older than me, and I think the first time he allowed us to have soda, she was 12 and I was 11, or I was 12 and she was 13. I think she was 12, I was 11. First time we was allowed to have soda, right? He didn't let us, like family functions, we couldn't drink soda, you know what I mean? Too much sugar, too much, and he preached that. And we was like, oh man, we always wanted soda. We got the age where we was able to drink soda. We drank soda, and I kid you not, by the time I was, I think my freshman year of high school, I want to say 14 or 15, I had like given it up for Lent for 40 days. And I haven't drank soda since. I didn't feel like I needed it. Yeah. And as an athlete throughout college and throughout high school, just like there's better options. Yeah. And it's not that easy for everybody, right? I'm not like judging people who drink soda. I think what I'm saying is there are certain things that always come back to you.
Train up a child.
Yeah, it's like even like pork, right? Like my dad never ate pork. It was more like he would have like breakouts, so he would get like these big red bumps, so he just didn't eat it. So my mother just never made it. So we just didn't eat pork. Right. And he had his values about like the cleanliness, and we're not Muslim or anything, but he had his values about like the cleanliness of a pig and those other stuff, right? We didn't eat pork in my house. As I became a teenager, I started to eat it because I was like, I have the choice. It's my money. I can buy my own food. I'm choosing to eat it.
Poppy, let me get a bacon, egg, and cheese.
I promise you, I probably ate it for 2 or 3 years and then just stop. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like you start doing your own research, it'll come back to you. So don't think like you're forcing your children when you make healthier decisions. Yeah. Or you make better decisions. You're not forcing them. Right. It's not forced when it's something unhealthy. So it's not forced when it's something healthy. Right. These are what mommy or daddy is cooking. This is what we're preparing. This is what we're buying. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna hold you. I'm gonna do a quick promo. This ain't nobody that sponsors this episode. I got to shout out Back to Nature.
Oh, yes.
Back to Nature. Yo, listen, I might have to tag them. We might need a commercial. Back to Nature they got these Oreos. These like.
They call cream filled, like cream. They look like Oreos.
Pretty much everything they make is plant based.
Not vegan, like
the way my cameraman is nodding in confirmation right now. It's crazy. They're not vegan. They're plant based, but they cost just as much as a box of Oreos.
Like $4 maybe?
Regular price. But everything's made with like cane sugar and stuff like that. So the chocolate from the cookies is made with like the cacao plant versus like the processed chocolate.
Not only those, but they have they have fudge striped ones too.
They got chocolate chip. They got soft baked chocolate chip.
It's gonna change your life.
Back if y'all could find that
to nature.
Or if y'all hit
it's anywhere. You got them in Stop and Shop, Whole Foods, Amazon. I think has it.
Plant based cookies. It help reduce cavities. because it's not as much sugar going into your teeth getting stuck.
Eat it.
It's not as high in
Right.
like bad sugars because it's made from cane sugar and cacao plant. Like,
Not saying like go sit down and eat a box of them because it's
Right.
still
It's
still a
still
cookie.
sweets.
It's still a cookie, but at
Yo.
least it's an alternative that you can introduce your kids to if they like the Keebler fudge stripes,
Shout out.
or if they
Right,
like
gives them the
Oreos.
Back to Nature fudge
If they like some Chips Ahoy,
Yeah.
they're so good. Like
yo, maggot.
Maggot.
Shout out to Back to Nature, yo. Them joints are fire. All these snacks are fire. So yeah, that's just one little plug. But I think what it comes down to is that we just care about our people.
We do.
And this
We
is not
really
like,
do.
It's not a judgment because it's not easy for everybody.
listen, it's not easy for
It's not easy for us. Even this cleanse we on right now is like,
Jesus.
Jesus, help us, Lord. You know what I mean? There's no meat, no bread, no starch thing that we doing. It's tough. But I can say what I'm learning is that, one, I have more energy in my workouts. But two, I'm learning that like a lot of our desire for food is like lusty. It's like more. It's more like,
you feel like you're supposed to eat.
yeah,
because that's
than
what
it
I'm
is, like,
realizing.
I actually need it right now. You know
I've
what
been
I mean?
realizing that too over the last few days that, we just started, we're about a week in, but I've been realizing that I eat because I think I'm supposed to eat this much food at this specific time. And over the last few days, I've been realizing I really don't need as much food as I think I need, because the fruits and salads that I have been eating have been sustaining me, and I'm good. I mean, I'm
Right, we get to taste for stuff.
One little-
we get to taste for a little something.
but
But
I think the moral of the story is, like, the takeaway point is to associate healthy eating with more positive attributes. Like,
Right.
don't let it be like, I can't eat this. I gotta eat a salad. I gotta make it fun.
Yeah.
Like, put fun things in it. Put walnuts and cranberries in it, little croutons, or whatever you can, that you don't feel like you're losing out by eating a better option.
I would also say, like, one of my takeaway points is just, this is not about stopping what you are doing. It's about increasing what you're not doing.
If you're not
doing. So I think it gets easier when you say, oh my gosh, I got to stop eating this. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Just start eating that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even-
Because then start eating that starts to push
Yeah.
what you don't need more out the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even if you start off with something small, like, it can be hard to transition from extreme to extreme really fast. So start off with like one meal replacement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Start
Right.
small and then build your way up.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm with that.
And going with the positive mindset.
I'm with that.
That's that.
Yo, we really didn't drink soda till we was like 11, 12. That's kind of crazy.
I used to love root beer.
Root beer? Root beer?
I used to love root beer.
Root beer?
I mean, I enjoyed like cream soda and
Nah, honestly, the only people I know that like root beer, they like. You know what? I'm not about to characterize nobody. Cause
do it. I
Nope.
dare you. I
Mm-mm.
dare
I
you.
ain't
Let's
doing it.
pod. Come on.
I'm not doing it.
Let's go where the others
I
don't.
feel like Paul Bunyan's favorite soda. Root beer? Like, he just chop trees and get back to the house. Him and the blue ox.
and guzzle a root beer.
Nobody like root beer?
I mean, if I had a choice now, if I wanted soda, I wouldn't drink it. I don't know why. My mother didn't put those restrictions on us, so like we didn't like have an age limit before we were age requirement in order to drink soda.
I'm glad
but-
my dad did that. Yo, shout out to my pops. Like, for real.
Facts.
Like, not that everything that we ate was good, but when you got a lot of kids, it's hard. You know, you got to get a crave cake from White Castle every once in a while. It's a lot of mouths to feed. But like small things like not eating pork or just like not drinking soda till a late age in life, it like really changed like a lot of like our functioning and stuff like that. Like not as much high sugars in school and stuff. And you know, it just helped out. I know I was pretty good. Okay.
We have some good food alternatives too. So if you guys are like interested in like some of the things that we do, I mean, we don't have it perfect, but we do have like a soda alternative. It's made with like sparkling water, apple cider vinegar. It's so good. So, you know, because the children might have a taste for like a little juice or a fizzy drink.
Yeah.
It's like a flavored sparkling water, but it gives the taste of soda, but it's not soda. I think the company is. I don't want to take up too much time.
Here's what we're gonna do for all our YouTubers.
Oh, I know what you're doing.
We're gonna leave the links in the comments for the different like snack or soda replacements that we have or that we give to our kids, and hopefully, you know what I mean?
Consider it.
Y'all consider it. You know, feel me?
All right.
All right, let's
Let's do it. What we called it again? Tell me more.
Nah, this is just our new thing. We're only like 3 episodes in with
All
this.
right. I hope I don't get emotional during this one.
Tell me more. Is this me?
Yes.
Okay. This is a question I'm answering, or I have to ask you?
You asked me.
Okay. Describe your ultimate dream vacation.
Ooh. All right. So.
The ghetto is coming out.
No. All right. Ooh, that's tough. All right. Dream. First of all, we got to be on a beach. It has to be somewhere warm.
Okay. Somewhere warm.
Not a pool, specifically a beach, because I don't know how to swim. All right. So it needs to be a nice warm beach. Yeah. All right.
Warm. Got it.
I need room service. I need. You know what? I don't really ask for much. I'm trying to think. I think my main requirement is a beach.
That's it.
And I just need to. I don't really. I'm pretty. I'm not boring, but I'm pretty. I don't really need a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just go out a little bit, because you don't be like gonna do stuff. So I need like no.
We're not getting it.
We're not gonna do that again. But my ultimate dream vacation would require no slack from me asking to like go out to do something.
We're not getting into this.
I think that's my only 2 requirements: a beach, and don't give me like no beef about like wanting to go out.
I don't give you beef. I say go have fun. While I stay here and relax. We're not going in. We're not getting into this. We're not getting into this. All right. You ask me my question. Sure. I got notes. Hot. Do a lot of stuff.
No, activities. Not a lot. I don't want to
do a lot of stuff. Activities. Got it. Dream vacation. Let's get it.
I got to think about it because that feels boring. I need to spruce it up.
Don't worry about what they think is boring to you. If that's what's going to be fun to you, then that's what's fun to you, baby.
All right. Last one.
Don't let them take you out your, you know what I'm saying? Out your
element. My element.
All right, let's go.
If your credit score was a person, describe what kind of person it would be.
The heck? How am I supposed to
answer that? I got that from the card.
If my credit score was a person.
Mm-hmm.
Snoop Dogg. Hi.
Okay.